everybody, welcome to Sapsucker Woods. It is 24 degrees here, just about. A little bit breezy, not terribly windy, but while at the moment it looks like the sun is kind of poking through, I would say it's mostly cloudy, but it's brighter than it was just a short while ago. Hope you've all had a nice, happy New Year. If you're on MeWe with us, you heard the sad news of the passing of one of our viewers, or one of our chat room attendees, Bob Cohen. It's too bad that we've lost him. It's always nice to have his voice in the chat room, and he will be missed. I'm going to gather up some things and then we'll take a walk. By the way, I have seen or heard just a few species. American goldfinch, black-capped chickadee, red-bellied woodpecker, and that's just about it. The pond is frozen over. I'm not saying it's frozen solid, but it looks like it's completely covered with snow and ice. And we're going to have a walk and see what else we can see. Be right with you. From a bird watching standpoint, it's been quiet for me. these last few days. I haven't seen anything really out of the ordinary. And we've had some snow. Not huge amounts, but enough to keep us shoveling. So welcome everybody. As I said, the sun is kind of sort of coming out a little bit, but for the most part things are cloudy. And I have a feeling this is just a temporary peak at the sun. The lab of ornithology is open. It was closed for the holidays and now it's open again. I see a red-bellied woodpecker and looks like some juncos, I think. Oh, maybe not. Mourning doves. What's wrong here? I wonder. And I just heard an American goldfinch, but these are mourning doves. And that's a dark-eyed junco right there. And that looks like an American tree sparrow back there. And the European starlings. And I thought I missed the red-bellied woodpecker for you. It had been at this feeder here. Hold on, I'm going to make an adjustment here. Red squirrel. An American goldfinch, and another one. Everybody just took off for some reason. I may have just heard a nuthatch, I'm not sure. But everyone took off for some reason, I'm not sure what. I don't see any raptors or anyone nearby. It happens. Could be something inside the building startled. Who knows? Okay, let's get going. It does feel cold out here. If I kept Chickadee nearby, I don't know if I'll get it. Well, no, it's maybe not. Here, I think maybe a junco or two. Overall, the weather's been fairly cold. Not terribly cold. Seasonable, I would say. Seasonal. Morning dove. Really, the weather, like I said, it's been what you would expect for, late December, early January. Not much going on here, obviously, with the pond frozen. So we'll get to the trails right away. I did post. We had a nice look at pileated woodpeckers last week, and I realized when reviewing the video, we did see two. We saw first a female and then a male. And it was interesting to see them as they were, searching for and actually finding food. I see the blue jay up there. So I did post that video. Let's keep going, I guess. And it's on YouTube if anyone's interested. I say we, I was looking at what I recorded, and I made a few tweaks to the lighting because sometimes things were challenging from a lighting perspective while we were looking at the woodpeckers last week. And but then when I was done, I was looking at what was left, and I was like, wow, we actually had a pretty good look. Gotta watch out on these boardwalks. Things are slippery, and right now it is. There's ice frozen to it. And traction is uneven. I hear a white-breasted nuthatch. Lots of footprints here. There's someone here ahead. He's taking photos of something. I wonder what he might see. He's still looking up at it. He's lowered his camera, but he's looking up at it. What do you have?
Affiliated.
Oh, is there?
Up there, yeah. He's on the right side of that big tree.
Oh, I see it. Thank you.
He's been up there for a good 10 minutes.
Oh, just took off. Might be better. Might be better. Right there? It's a male. Just took off again. Oh, just took off again. So it's on the move, looking for food. I see it with the naked eye, I just can't find it. There it is. So this is a pileated woodpecker, if you didn't know. See if I can find anything else. We saw, like I said, we saw 2 last week, and I hear another woodpecker, either a hairy or a downy. Oh, did it take off? No, sorry, I moved you. I still have it in my sights.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I never ever get tired of those birds.
No, neither do I.
Oh, stunning. Have a great day.
You too. So it's not very close to us right now. You can see it's doing what we saw last week, the same sort of thing. It's looking for food. We won't stay and watch it for too long. This is, the sort of thing that, this is what you might see when you're out doing wintertime birding. You never know. But with a little luck, sometimes you encounter a bird like this, a beautiful bird, and you get to see how it copes with winter, how it works to find food. I think our view is pretty steady. The tree itself is moving a bit. You can see it's moving back and forth. Now last week as we watched, we saw a male pileated woodpecker, working inside a hole in a tree, and eventually it was pulling out insects. They looked like some kind of wasp, or not wasp, but maybe a hornet or bee or something like along those lines. We're going to move on, I think. Only because it's not very close to us. Good to see, though. Come on. There we go. All right, let me adjust my tripod again. As in my mind, approaching the pond and knowing that it was frozen and everything, I didn't expect to see, much activity around the pond itself. But I was also thinking, well, okay, we may have some good luck in the woods. I'd say, this is, I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but it's the trail itself, at least here, is, it's not very smooth. It has all kind of bumps, from footprints, I would say, and maybe some thawing and then refreezing. And there's a little bit of snow on top of that frozen, that frozen slush. Well, it's no longer slush, ice. And, but I mean, there's a lot less snow to walk in than there was last week, at least so far here. So from an effort standpoint, it's easier to walk on, but it could be slippery. just heard a woodpecker again, either a hairy or a downy. The reason why I say a hairy or a downy, I have never been able to quite figure out the difference between their calls. That chip note call. The downies, one of the downies' vocalizations is pretty simple and easy to recognize, and when I hear it, it's, little doubt. But that chip note is difficult for me. And it's been a while since I tried to listen and figure it out, but every time I've tried to listen to various calls, it's like, boy, they sound the same to me. By the way, if you did tune in last week, you saw at the end of the day we were lucky enough to see a short-eared owl, or actually, I should take that back. We saw 2 short-eared owls. I've looked at the video a bit. I'm hoping maybe if I can, it was dark, so the quality isn't as good as I would have hoped to have. So I'm looking at it and seeing if I can tweak it or whatever. And I just haven't had the chance to really go through the video as much as I would like to. But anyway, we did see 2. I'm at least 2. I'm pretty certain of it. At one point we saw one closer to us and another one in the air with prey. And so I'm pretty confident we saw at least 2 short-eared owls last week, and I'm hoping to maybe put something together if I can just clean up the video a bit. If not, then okay. But it was a pleasant surprise to see them last week at the end of the day. A nice way to end the day, really. Not what I had expected. And it's funny just the way it worked out. I was thinking, should we go to the airport? Well, maybe not. Let's go have a look, and went to have a look. Possibly to see a snowy owl. And I have no idea if there was one there or not. I hear a crow. As we drove to the area where we would potentially see one, they had a big snow pile there in the way. And, I made the comment that I wondered if it was deliberate to block our view. Because I know last year when they had decided, okay, nobody other than pilots and airplane passengers allowed out beyond the terminal building. In other words, no more bird watchers. Some people would stand at the fence and look through at the owls. And so, if you're parked in the right spot, you can even, sit in your vehicle and look through that fence. And, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. But there was a snow pile there this year. Or at least I should say last Saturday. and you'll have to excuse me. And it's not that I've forgotten that the year has changed to 2026, but often, throughout a given winter, I'll refer to it as this year, and I really mean this winter, this season. Couple chunks of bark here. As I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, sometimes when you see chunks of bark on top of the snow, it's a possible indicator of woodpecker activity. Especially if those chunks are lightly colored, at least on one side, and they look like that they're fresh. They haven't had a chance to weather and darken. Years ago, I think it was before the tour. I'm not sure. I remember I was here at Sapsucker and walking along, and it was during the warmer months, but I saw just some fresh sawdust, and I looked up, and I believe it was a northern flicker nest up above it. If not a nest, then definitely a place where a northern flicker had been working, and I did see the flicker. So the point is, when you're looking for birds, look for any clues you can find. To see the pileated earlier, just a short while ago, you may recall, the first thing I mentioned was that there was a person standing there looking up with his, pointing upward with his camera. I hear someone tapping, I think. Maybe not. Not yesterday, but I think it was the day before. I stepped outside and just dealing with some things, and as it happens, my neighbor was outside too. And he saw me, and he asked me, or he mentioned that he had seen right there on his deck, he had seen a large bird, look like a hawk or something like that. And I hadn't seen it. I didn't know with any certainty, but I told him it was probably a Cooper's hawk. And the reason why is because every once in a while a Cooper's hawk comes and visits my deck where my bird feeders are. And if you don't know, Cooper's hawks, they're not going to go for the feeders, they're going to go for the birds that go for the feeders. And, okay, fine. So I told him that, and then the next day, yesterday, I was looking out the window, and sure enough, on his deck lands a Cooper's hawk. And it was only there for a few moments and then went and made its way over to my deck. But I was kind of stuck where I was. I couldn't get to my camera because it would have seen me and it would have been startled. And it was only at my deck for a few moments. And the problem I have, even if I can be there, ready with a camera, in hand, very often, unless the Cooper's hawk is right in front of me, I'm going to deal with, looking through the window glass at an angle, so that, ruins the quality a bit. There's no doubt wintertime photography from within a vehicle or within a building can be, has its own unique challenges. If you leave the windows closed, then you've got, you're looking through the glass, often at an angle. If you open the windows, then you usually have heat shimmer, because it's cold outside and the warm air inside is escaping and, causing some blurriness in your images. Sometimes I've actually had better luck keeping the windows closed.
Some serious equipment, huh?
Well, it works for me.
I'll bet.
I'm streaming live too, so.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Well, it's a good day for filming, right?
Not bad. Not seeing too many birds though. That's the problem.
That's the problem, huh?
Is it a good day for walking around for you?
It's a beautiful day.
It really is.
It's icy, so you got to be careful.
Yeah.
A
A little cold.
Yeah, but hey, it's winter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Have a great day.
You too. Enjoy. He had walking sticks, and at first I thought he was cross-country skiing. They look like, poles, ski poles. But he's just walking. And it is a nice place for a walk. I mean, today, if I weren't carrying around the camera equipment, I can see it being very, very nice and comfortable for a walk like he's taking. There's not a lot of snow on the ground that's hard to walk on. It's just a little slippery in spots. But like I mentioned, last week the snow was considerably deeper. It was at least a couple inches, and that gets to be, takes a little effort to walk through it. I hear a woodpecker again, either a hairy or a downy, maybe two. Oh, maybe not. It could have been one in flight. I don't know. much going on here. No surprise either. As I mentioned, you can see the footprints. As I mentioned, the pond is, covered with snow and ice. We'll take a look over at the other side. Not that I'm seeing anything. Am I hearing something? Probably a crow again. Okay, let's continue. There have been times we come here in the warmer months and we stand here for a long time just because there's so much to see. But in winter, very often there's very little or nothing to see here bird-wise. One thing about winter, very often footprints are more visible. And you can see what's been happening in your absence. I was, once again, I've had snow. And, sometimes I don't clean it up around the bird feeders right away because, I don't want to bother to do that during the day. Wait till dark. And, it's nice to look out at the end of the day and you see all kinds of footprints all over as, the birds had been there. I would have to say, I think I heard a chickadee. I think most of the footprints that get left on my deck are, I'm hearing a white-breasted nuthatch also. Most of the footprints seem to be left by the dark-eyed juncos. Or at least in the areas not immediately below the bird feeders. But the starlings have really discovered my my feeders, and they've been really hitting them hard. And I don't like the mess that they make, and I don't like it when they prevent other birds from getting the feeders. But I have a feeling some of the birds like it, like their help, because the starlings, in addition to their droppings, they also tend to spill some of the feed to the deck itself, and I think that suits the juncos and the mourning doves just fine. Prefer to be have it on the. We looked at these a couple weeks ago, actually. So I haven't really done much to keep the starlings away, except if they're really, sometimes there have been times like yesterday, they were really going after each other and completely dominating the feeders. So nothing going on here. I guess we haven't seen all that much here today. We saw that pileated woodpecker, and we saw the activity of the feeders, but not much else. I hear nuthatch again. Okay, there's a chickadee. Let's keep going. Hold on a second. This thing is just too uncomfortable to carry. I gotta do something one of these days. A tripod, that is. I think we're going to skip the fuller wetlands. They're frozen over. Looks like some crows in the air. 1 second. Yes. 3 crows. Maybe 4. Alright, let's head to the car and we'll go to the campus. Couple more crows. There's a turkey vulture up above us. Actually, it's above the lab now. Okay. Minute or two, we should be underway. So quiet is it overall here. Ooh. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That wasn't good. this. Alright, let's get going here, I guess. Bye, sapsucker. No, we don't want to hear that. I said we don't want to hear that. I don't know why my car goes to a certain screen. I never use that screen ever. Welcome to the Cornell campus, everybody. It's 25 degrees here. We're going to take a look around. Maybe we'll have a little bit of luck. Maybe we won't. Of course, they're still on winter break. Two, 3 more weeks, actually. Usually, I don't know the exact date when they'll be coming back, but it's usually, late January. Like maybe 3rd week, 4th week. They come back. Oh, I see somebody. Hold on. Let's see. Come on, come on, come on. Looks like Arthur to me. We're looking from a long distance, so our views are not going to be clear, but let's see if we can go catch up with him. Good to see him. We did see Big Red together last week, but we did not see Arthur. So now we've seen Arthur today. And we'll see if we can maybe have a better look. From here, for instance, I cannot see him now. He's the building is blocking our view. Could, while we're here, try to go look on like McGraw Hall or that, or thereabouts for Big Red, or we could just go and try to find, have a better look at Arthur. Let's go have a better look at Arthur, I think, or we'll try to anyway. I'm not sure if the angles will be difficult for us or not. They probably will be, but we'll do our best. So I can't see him from here. He's on the other side of that building. You know what? I'll pull over here for a second. on, people. Go, go, go. See him. Alright, one second. You know what? Hold on one second. So again, this is Arthur, red-tailed hawk Arthur. Hello. Hold on, let me see if I can get things steadier. I'll bet he's not going to be there very long. I'm not saying it means anything, but near me, there's a dumpster with a squirrel on top of it running around. And I'm not saying Arthur would be going after the squirrel. And I'm not even sure he sees a squirrel. We'll move on, I think, shortly and continue our search. You can see it's a little breezy up there. Okay, let's continue. Good to see Arthur. Squirrel's done checking out the dumpster. Near. Oh. Directly above us, there's an eagle, bald eagle. see that same bald eagle right now. Not close to us now.
Stayed in bed all morning just to pass the time. There's something wrong here, there can be no denying. One of us is changing, or maybe we just stopped trying. And it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to will be good times again for me and you. But we just can't stay together, don't you feel it too? Still, I'm glad for what we have and how I once loved you. But it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to make it. Something inside has died and I can't hide it, I just can't fake it. Oh, no, 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 no. It's too late, now darling, it's too late.
No sign of Big Red. But we're looking, but only for a few more minutes, and then we'll take a break. I was considering going to another place, actually, in the Ithaca area. Somewhere I've never been. But I don't know if there's been good bird activity there. You know, let me check my email for deeper alerts. Might be worth going. Again, it's a place I've never been. It's a park, and I'm not sure what the views are like and if the activity will continue there.
the things I do. But baby, I'll try to explain the reasons why. Cause I've been thinking about the things that you said late last night with me. The word I said just didn't come out right, and was so afraid that I found someone new. But darling, well, there's no need for what we're going through, because you and I been in love too long to worry about tomorrow. Here's a place where we're gonna belong. I know you're the only woman that I'm dreaming of. You're the only woman that I really love. Let me see what a foolish heart has done for me. Darling, why? You break my heart and make me cry. Can't go back to change the way things are, and this foolish talk will take us very far. And so I hope you're listening, 'cause I'm telling you about the way I feel and what I'm going through. Because you and I been in love too long to worry about tomorrow. Here's a place where we both belong. I know you're the only woman I've been dreaming of. You're the only woman that I'm dreaming of. I'll say you're the only woman that I really love. You're the only woman that I really love. Don't speak. When the pain of love surrounds you, and the world may be alive, I'll put my loving arms around you, take you far from this place and time, because you and I really got to run, to worry about tomorrow. There's a place we belong. I know you're the only woman I've been dreaming of. You're the only woman that I'm dreaming of. You're the only woman that I really love. You're the only woman that I really love. You're the only woman. You're the only woman. I know you're the only woman. But now you're the only woman.
I think we're just going to look for a few more minutes, and then it'll be time to take a break. Obviously, I haven't found Big Red yet, and I'm not sure we will find her, but we're looking. No, we heard that last week. Don't hear that. I think we'll go and see if Arthur is still where he was. No longer there. There is that, I don't know if it's the same squirrel, but there's a squirrel at the dumpster again and it's eating something. See a gull in here. Yeah, we heard this last week too, as I recall. see somebody. Hold on. It's definitely not big red, but okay, hold on a second. Could be Arthur. I think it is. So this does appear to be Arthur, red-tailed hawk. And did I see something else happen or no? Maybe not. So I happened to catch sight of him. He's above the falls. I don't think that's technically Beebe Lake where he is. I think it's Fall Creek. And we're not far from the building where we had seen him earlier. Now, is Big Red in the area? I have no idea. I would not be surprised, but I haven't seen her. I see the comments regarding coloration and everything. Some of it could be my own camera equipment making adjustments. But you can see his breast is mostly lighter in color, not much dark coloration to speak of. Certainly far less than Big Red has. And it's really time for us to take a break. We're looking at maybe restarting at maybe about 4 almost, maybe a little bit earlier. But it's good to see him. This is the best look we've had at Arthur in a while, and just a lucky sighting, really. Just happened to catch sight of him there on the tree trunk, or not the tree trunk, the tree branch, and he looks like he's maybe about to leave or something. Something might have his attention. I'm not sure what. And I'm looking around a little bit. I don't see anybody else. Okay, we're going to continue. Let me just move on. Good to Like I said, I would not be surprised if Big Red is in the area. I haven't seen her. Lake does appear to be fully covered in ice. Okay, I think it's time we took a break, everybody, and we're looking at restarting maybe around 4 o'clock, hopefully a little earlier than that. Probably a little earlier, but no guarantee. a message. Okay. Welcome to Montezuma, everybody. It's mostly cloudy and my thermometer is reading 28 degrees at the moment. We're here to take a look around. We don't have much time because it's going to get dark pretty soon. We didn't see anything in this stretch last week. And the week before, we had been lucky enough to see a rough-legged hawk, but nothing so far today. Now, there could be something on the ground. I'm looking primarily in the air as I'm driving. if the ground were flat and if I had a view of it, it might be a little bit simpler, but I really don't. So let's move on. We don't have much time. I did not see any snow geese on Cayuga Lake. I did see some Canada geese, and I saw in one of our viewing spots a lot of Canada geese and a number of, a few swans and a number of ducks with them. And then also prior to that, I did see a few what looked like red-breasted mergansers on Cayuga Lake, and some mallards and some American black ducks, and also there was another flock of something, and I did not stop to look at what that something was. I should have, if I had to guess. They might have been common golden eyes and something like that, just given the location. Kind of wish I had stopped, but I just wanted to get here as quickly as I could. I think I just saw a dark-eyed junco take off from the edge of the road. It's a sparrow, and it had a little bit of white feathering near its tail. Oh my goodness. The official position, the official statement by the tour is that we never, ever get a green light, even though we've had at least 3. Maze Point Pool looks frozen, and so does Shockey Pool from what I can see of it. Anyway, with that official position, we have a right to complain about the fact that the light, it's always red. Now, last week we saw a couple bald eagles in this area, but I'm not seeing anything like that right now. There is, to my left right now, passing by a tree with an eagle's nest in it. We saw nesting activity last year. And unfortunately, when everything, in terms of leaves and everything, grows in, it makes it very difficult to see that nest. And also the fact that it is right along the bridge, so it's, our viewing angles are limited. Now we don't have snow on the roads, but in some spots, I wonder if it's windblown. Some spots I've seen a little bit of snow. And I did see, by the way, on my way here, just a few flurries. And I can't remember where it was, if it was for here, or for Ithaca, or for where. But I had seen, a prediction of maybe some snow, later in the day today. I think it's some starlings up above us, I believe. we may, so far we're not seeing much here in the Montezuma area, the immediate area. We may not be up here much at all. I'm not expecting to see much by coming this way, but you never know. So I think it's worth checking. Right, let me just have a quick look with binoculars. I don't see anything with the naked eye. I do see a bald eagle, I think. But we're going to turn around. And by the way, I'm not taking a bald eagle sighting for granted, but it's not a particularly good sighting, given if it is even a sighting. One thing about winters, sometimes you can look in a grouping of trees and you see a white spot and you think, oh, that could be an eagle, but then again it could be just a little bit of an accumulation of snow, and below it is a dark tree trunk or something. So you have to be careful. But anyway, I think that was an eagle, but again, it wasn't very close or anything. And with our limited time, we're going to keep moving. I wonder if maybe, the snow geese are not really wintering in the area. Maybe they've headed further south. You may recall, was it last week or the week before, when I was, just beginning to break, I had seen that day a large flock of, I think it was last week, of snow geese in the air in Ithaca. And, just made me wonder if something else is going on this year, if something is different or what. Now, as I said, I did not see any snow geese on Cayuga Lake. A couple things may have happened. Maybe I missed them, or they were in just a different location on the lake and I just didn't look in the right spot, or maybe they're not on the lake but they're in the area just in a in a field feeding. That's very possible also. Okay, I don't see... Well, I might see some Canada geese. See, there's snow on the road here, and I think it's just windblown. I just want to see if I can see some Canada geese. No. Okay. And I could drive along the highway there, 31, but I'm not going to. I think we'll just It's not to say that nothing is to be seen, but my suspicion is that the Seneca River is covered with ice and probably has limited activity, maybe no activity. So we'll continue on. Going on down there. Just going to give you a quick peek. I'm not even going to lower the window. Hold on a second. I might see something. Hold on. Probably not, but no. Uh-oh, we're stuck. We're stuck. What I saw, I think, was a bird nest or something, and it just looks like it might have been, a larger bird on a tree branch, but no. As I've mentioned, it's worth coming here in winter, even though, okay, yes, we know that chances are everything is frozen down there, and there might be, few or no birds at all, but sometimes up here near the road we see some interesting things. Sorry, birds. Look like juncos near the road. Including, sparrows near the road or other birds near the road. I remember, was it last year that we saw a whole grouping, I don't know if you'd consider them a flock or whatever, of turkeys, wild turkeys, and they were nice to see. So, you never know what you'll see or where you'll see it. So it's definitely worth checking here in winter, even though the marsh itself might be frozen solid. But obviously we're not seeing much up this way, and we're going to start heading back, I think, already. I considered going to the airport first, but I just thought, no, let's get to Montezuma, look around, and we'll see. And you never know, maybe we'll have some luck. I think we will probably head there again today, depending on what we see, where we see it. Above, I'm not sure what they are. Flying above us, smaller birds. Somehow they didn't look like starlings. Could be though. I don't think so. There's something else. Would have been too much to ask. The wild turkeys, we saw that one large grouping, but in a different week. I think, Dolph, you may be referring to the one that we saw one turkey. This was in September, I think, of not 2025, but 2024. I think it was September. And we encountered a single wild turkey. I don't know actual name of I don't know if it's called Maze Point Road, on the way to East Road, and before we could get to East Road, we encountered that wild turkey, and who very much seemed to be accustomed to being fed by humans. And I unfortunately did not have any bird seed with me, but that was a special event, quite honestly. And I did post that to YouTube if anyone wants to go and find it. Generally, not always, but when I post things to YouTube, I usually just, I don't give exciting names or anything like that. I tend to, mention, the species and the date. And I might do something else every once in a while. Or if for instance, let's say we're seeing a lot of ducks, many different species, along Wildlife Drive, they may not list a specific species in the title. I'm telling you all this because if you do want to look up something that I've recorded in the past and posted to YouTube, the best way is probably to, you go to my channel, you look at the search field within the channel, not all of YouTube, but within the channel. You type in, wild turkey, and there's a good chance you'd be able to find it. Not always. I've looked for things sometimes too, and I wonder why, why YouTube's search results would yield the results they did. And it's like, boy, I think I would have thought you would have shown me this video or that video, and it doesn't for some reason. But that's really the way to do it, I think. And like I said, I try to have simple naming schemes. And for instance, or for most, not all, for most of the Cornell, or the red-tailed hawks on the Cornell campus, especially when we're filming the adults and the juveniles in June, July, August, I'll just come out with Cornell red-tailed hawks and then the date. And simple. It's not exciting. It's not nothing fancy. But I do that because it makes it easier to find it. If I were to label it, party time on the campus, it would be harder to remember that applies to a specific date or whatever. So I choose those very, very plain video titles just to make it easier to find things. Sometimes I might do, something a little bit different, like, tundra swans on Cayuga Lake and the date. I might do that sometimes. But again, it's usually the species is referenced in the title, and I put the date in the title, usually. Sometimes I won't do add the date if maybe, for instance, the video is a compilation of a few different recordings recorded over different days. I might do something, I might not put the date in, or maybe I would say, May of 2026. I guess what I could and should do, but I don't do, is I don't add tags to my videos. So, like, for instance, I see Canada geese on the field to our right. Not many. If, for instance, let's say Big Red did some teaching of her young, one particular evening. Maybe I should say Big Red teaching as a tag or something, just to help, make things easier to find. I don't usually do that. So what I can see of the water to our left is all covered in snow and ice, so I don't see any bird activity there. I just realized we didn't stop to look at anything. Really, any birds at all while we were in the Montezuma area, did we? Oh well, that's what happens. There are some tents out on the ice there on Cayuga Lake, so people must be ice fishing. I don't know exactly how shallow it is here at the northern end, but the northern end of Cayuga Lake is my understanding, significantly shallower than the southern end. And it freezes more readily. It may also be, maybe it's a little colder up here too. I don't know, but now obviously it can't be frozen. Well, if it's frozen solid, then there would be no fishing because nothing would be moving. So it must be that it's not frozen solid all the way to the to the bottom of the lake. Now, we could take a right at this next intersection and head to the airport that way. I think... Do I want to do that is a question. Might as well. I was thinking about going further on and having a look at some of the activity on Cayuga Lake, but I think we'll head to the airport now and have a look around now. As a reminder, or if you weren't with us last week, we happened to see two short-eared owls at the Finger Lakes Regional Airport last Saturday. What I don't know is how, when do they become active? Are they active during the day? When we saw one, the first time we ever saw one years ago at the airport, it was essentially middle of the day, and last week obviously was late in the day. It was getting dark. So I don't know if we would just happen to be lucky, or if they, maybe that one time years ago, maybe it was just kind of a fluke. Or if they're generally more active later in the day. That I don't know. I should have maybe read about them a little bit. What we'll do is, so we're on our way to the airport now. We'll have a quick look around at the very minimum. And if it looks like there's nothing going on at all, then maybe we'll continue on to Cayuga Lake, or we might, I don't know. Maybe it is worth just hanging around. I have no idea. could have taken that last right and gone to the far side of the airport just to look around, although we rarely see anything there in terms of snowy owls. We have at least a few times. To our right, I don't know if you can see it. Yes, I think you can a little bit. The field, I'm not sure what that was growing there, but it's at least some of the vegetation is higher than the snow. Hold on, I see something. Hold on. Looks like a harrier in the air to our right. Not very close. Let's continue. And I also saw what looked like some geese. I'm not sure if they were possibly snow geese or if they're more likely Canada geese. I don't see them now. And to our left, a few Canada geese. They could be the very Canada geese I just saw. And alright, let's drive in here right now. This is where we were last week primarily when we were watching the short-eared owls. There's less snow on the ground now. And we'll just have a look around. Not seeing anything. I don't remember exactly when we were here last week, but I have a feeling we're here just a little earlier. We spent more time in Montezuma last week just because there was more to see, and we didn't see much today, so we just continued right on out of the area. Oh, I should have... Hold on a second. See a snowy owl now. There are a few snow piles that make things a little difficult, but I looked in one of the usual spots. I didn't see anything, but no guarantee that means anything. In the air, well ahead, I see Canada geese. There was definitely more snow on the ground last week. Still have that snow pile in our way. Thanks. I think it's deliberate. Looks like they're closing up for the night. Oh, maybe not. They just turned off the light maybe in that room. Oh, maybe they are closing up for the night. This might, for me, turn out to be one of those tours when I come away with nothing that I really want to save or share or anything in terms of video. Haven't seen much today, really. It's been good to be out and about looking for birds, but we haven't seen all that much, obviously. I take it back. I mean, it was nice to see the pileated woodpecker and sapsucker, and of course it was nice to see Arthur on the campus. Well, so I saw that harrier, but I haven't seen anyone else flying around. I think we're going to move on. I don't know if the short-eared owls last week were just a stroke of luck, or if a regular. I think those geese are decoys. Yeah, I think they're decoys. Yeah, I think they are decoys. There are a few mallard decoys, too, along with them to our right in the cornfield. Well, pretty good-looking decoys, though, I have to say. Okay, so let's continue on. While we have some light, and we'll head towards. We could head back. Maybe we should head back. I think we will. We'll head back the way we came, and that might be better in terms of seeing some of what activity I did see on Cayuga Lake. I think that's a good idea. do see some Canada geese up in the air. If those are decoys, they're very convincing since they're flying. Canada geese in the air to our left. Fair number of them. And a few more flying over the road now and to our right. My guess is they're all making their way to the lake. In fact, yes. see it, but things are largely frozen here. We're going to turn right around in a moment, and there is an opening and some bird activity as a result. Okay, let's take a quick look before it gets too dark. You can see we've got Canada geese and probably tundra swans and maybe a few, some gulls back there. Maybe some ducks, yes, it looks like some duck activity, not a lot. Those are probably eagles way out there. So let's take a look at that as best we can. Whoa. there are still smaller groups coming in of Canada geese. I think I just saw, unless they're going elsewhere, I just saw a smaller group. I can't see them now because of the couple trees that we have in our view. But that was nice to see, certainly. One of the best things we've seen all day. Oh, and out here we see the ducks. Those are hooded mergansers. There with the Canada geese, and behind them the what are probably tundra swans. Little geese coming in. Yeah, those are the ones I just saw apparently. Have some gulls back there, as I had mentioned. Dolph, add these 4 to your total. Make it 5. Oh, hold on. What was that? I just saw, I think, I'm not sure if it was a peregrine falcon or a northern harrier. Those look like mallards there. Looking behind them, I mean, that doesn't look like open water. So, I mean, there's just a limited area of open water there. Now, you could probably fly a little farther south, and I'm sure you'd get more open water. But why fly farther if you don't have to? If you can just go to this area here from the nearby agricultural fields where you were grazing earlier, and you can go here and be safe, in numbers with other Canada geese and everything. Why not? Unless it becomes, obviously too crowded, but. More Canada geese, a decently sized flock coming in, but just this one flock. I'll stay here at ground level Is that a snow goose? It is. Hope it's okay. Okay, I think it is. Okay, so that's the end of the flock, and then yes, back there looks like an eagle, and then farther beyond you can see there is some open water. It looks like ducks are swimming in it, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought we had seen at least a couple of eagles, but maybe only one still on the ground. But you can see there's more activity, well, oh, okay, significantly more there. Lots of swans, lots of swans. What are those? Are those American black ducks? Maybe. Wow, lots of swans there. They've really... It's a real congregation. Wow. More Canada geese coming in. Part of me thinks, oh, it would have been nice to be here earlier in the day, maybe for the swans. I don't know. But the Canada geese we just saw, they, most of them just arrived. I think there's a mute swan back there, at least one. I'm going to brighten it up a little bit, okay? Hold on. Too much noise, video noise. But I think some of the swans may be mute swans. I'm not sure. Yes, I'm not positive, but I think so. Let's just start the car for a bit. we've seen, on occasion, we've seen a few swans leave, and you just wonder if they just simply joined the other larger grouping of swans. Now, don't be confused by what we're seeing here. That it may not be quite as many swans as it appears to be. We're essentially looking at them, edge on, and maybe if we had a different angle, we'd say, oh, okay, there aren't that many there. But still a fair number. It's beautiful to see. Yeah, you can see it's only a few rows of them deep, but still good numbers of swans, I would say. All right, we're gonna continue on. We're gonna drive a little ways. We don't have much time left, but we might be able to see one thing before it gets dark. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. Could have been here. The viewing in many ways is not as good, but it's closer here to what we were just seeing in terms of the Canada geese. I can't tell what they are, but they look like Canada geese above us. A small flock. Heading again towards Cayuga Lake. Saw a number of dead deer on my way, in my travels today. And we're in a hurry now. I'm keeping an eye out for deer. Later on, when after I shut down, I'm going to make my way probably pretty slowly, just because you never know when a deer can jump out onto the road. We were passed by that vehicle a moment ago, and it's not worth it. Basically, what I'm hoping to see, I mentioned earlier a flock of ducks of some sort that I had seen on Cayuga Lake. Further. Well, I didn't reference where they were, but they were in I said they might have been common golden eyes. They're in an area where we have seen golden eyes before on a number of occasions. It's given where they are, though. There's not like a lot of not many good spots there for us to see from the car or really from anywhere else. Even if we were to get out of the car, I don't think it would be very good, quite honestly. But I'm hoping to at least see what that flock is composed of. It's coming up here, if they're still there, where I saw them. Just pull over here and have a look with binoculars. Do I see something out there? Oh. They may have gone elsewhere. They could be, maybe much farther out. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's something out there, and it's much farther out. Could be Canada geese for all I know. But let's have a look. I hear mallards closer, but those look like Canada geese out there. Okay, those are Canada geese. Drive too quickly because just in case I do see that again they had appeared to be ducks as I was driving and they were much closer. coming up, there's another spot where we'll actually be a little closer to the water. And we just pull over here and have a look with binoculars. Nothing. Have to be careful here. There's on the side of the road there's a rather deep ditch. Let's move forward just a little bit more, and then let's see if there's anything. No, I don't think so. Okay, just a little bit more. We have, just minutes of light. And the sun has already set, but we still have a little bit of light in the air. Would have liked to have seen much more today, but I'd have to say that, seeing what we did, where we did, I'm not all that unhappy. It was nice to see Arthur, as I had mentioned, and it was nice watching that pileated woodpecker a little bit, although sapsucker was really otherwise very, very quiet for us. Didn't get to see much at all. And Montezuma itself, that our usual areas, those were very disappointing. I shouldn't say they were disappointing, but they had very low activity, and they weren't overly surprising. It's winter after all, and sometimes you just don't have the best of luck. Just saw some ducks. I think I'm seeing some ducks closer to the shore, and I can guess what they are just given their shape. Maybe mallards and or black ducks. All right, let's try to move this further. But also, I have to say I really enjoyed seeing those Canada geese come in and land. I mean, we obviously know what they were doing. They were likely, we don't know with certainty, but I'm sure they were in various fields, and then they made their way to the lake to roost for the night. Sometimes, you might read on All About Birds. They'll say like when to see a particular species, and especially with waterfowl, they might say, okay, in wintertime you see them on this sort of body of water and that sort of body of water, and okay, fine. Well, this is it. I mean, this is what we're seeing. So for Canada geese, and I don't know with certainty, but I'll bet that most of these geese that we have been seeing today are migratory geese. They're not resident Canada geese. They're wintering here. They spent they spent the day in the fields, and now they've made their way to the lake to roost for the night. When you think about it, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I think about it that way, I mean, you're well, let me step back. In the past, I used to see Canada geese in flocks, and there they are. They're passing through. Where are they going? I don't know. Are they flying all the way to Florida? For all I know, those kinds of things. And as a child, for instance, I might see a flock of Canada geese in V formation there, and you see them, and you're like, oh, they're migrating. Okay, fine. And we're seeing them here today. Well, this is their winter destination. Apparently, they're wintering here. And if I have to imagine, obviously, if the conditions were to become very bad, and too much snow and no food to be found, they would probably go elsewhere and head further south until they could find food. But we see them in this area because the conditions are generally year to year good enough for them to winter here. I think it's just it's just pretty neat. So where are we going now? We're just going to that one area that does provide a decent view of the lake, and if there are snow geese on the lake, if they're in their usual spot, that's where it provides a good good spot from which to view it, a decent spot, I should say. And I just would like to know if snow geese are on the lake, if possible. Now, it might be too dark to see, but we'll have one thing in our favor, and that is with snow geese generally being, very white, we might be able to see them on the lake even though it's getting dark. Then again, I may tell you, okay, that's it. We'll see. It's obviously getting very dark now. Coming up on the area now. I'm seeing every once in a while, I see like a little snow flurry. Alright, let me pull over here and look out on the lake if I can. Nothing stands out. So I'm not seeing anything. We can just move ahead here. Well, if there's anything out there, I can't see it. I think it might be just about time to call it a day. As it is getting quite dark, it's hard to see anything any longer. Yeah, we should consider going down that way one of these days. I hope you've enjoyed the day, even though we didn't see as much as I would like. You've heard me say that before. one thing, for me though, I mean, even when we don't see, many birds, it's an enjoyable experience, and I hope you feel the same way. It's certainly a nice way to spend the winter day. But I'd say we're pretty much out of light and out of time. It's time for me to pack up and head home. I do want to wish you all well, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.